Hi, welcome.
Good morning.
Morning. Are we still morning? Yes, think so.
I think so.
Right. Well, thank you, Jason, for agreeing to do this.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I've been actually so excited to speak to you because, as I said before we started rolling, Instagram's a funny thing. Like social media has its pros and cons, and I kind of feel like I know you, but then I don't think we've actually ever had a conversation. But when I started scrolling through, and I was like, oh my gosh, like you have done so many things, and your story, from what I see, is super interesting, super inspiring. And these conversations for me are to connect and network with people in the business community in Cayman, and for me to learn from you and learn more about what you do. So yeah, there's a lot. You've done a lot. So I just wanted to start off, as I always do, by kind of learning a little bit more about who Jason Brown is.
Jason Brown. Okay. Interesting. How far back do I go?
Way back, as far as we can. I think I always say this. I think where we came from is a huge part of who we are today.
Sure.
So as far back as you can tell us.
I guess, born and raised on this beautiful island, and just very fortunate to, be born on this beautiful island that I call home, the Cayman Islands in Grand Cayman, Georgetown, and have the family that I've had, the support system over the years. Since we're speaking on business-related topics, I grew up and cut my teeth in a family of business people.
I mean, you're from a legacy family. It's quite amazing, like mom and dad, right? And grandfather, I read too.
Yeah,
with Mike Zeiss.
Yeah, my grandfather. So I guess I could go back just to how things came full circle. I always think back to my grandmother, who was a Tibbetts.
Okay.
On mommy's side. And in the 1932 storm, women and children had to leave the BRAC after that big hit. And they seek refuge in Kingston, Jamaica.
Yeah.
And that is how kind of my little bit of Jamaican heritage also starts as well. So it's kind of a little bit of a story of life coming full circle. So when the 32 storm happened, my grandmother was taken over to Jamaica. She ends up growing up there.
Okay.
Meeting my grandfather, and there's mom. Right? And then mom and dad's love story was, since they were little, they lived down the street from each other.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And then kind of went their own ways in life. And then around the time that my dad returned from university as a mechanical engineer, they kind of reconnected. And I think there was a moment where my mom was like, Michael, it's now or never. And he said, never. And then he went to Cayman and went to Kirk Freeport, legend has it, and he bought a ring and came back about a week later and he said, well, it's now.
Oh my God.
And it came full circle. And then I think, my mom was only 19 at the time.
Wow.
And kind of their love story brought them to Cayman in 1972.
Okay.
And my mom was applying for a work permit. She was trying to work with Scotiabank at the time. And they said, Miss Brown, you need not apply. You have Caymanian birthrights.
Oh, she never knew?
I guess she had some knowledge, but wasn't
but they
sure
didn't
about.
Understand how.
We didn't know. She didn't know how to go about those sort of things. And my dad had applied for a business license to incorporate Mike Zeiss and refrigeration. And he applied for several different disciplines.
And how old was your dad? So he's early 20s?
My dad would have been in his, I think, if I'm guessing correctly, maybe his mid-20s at the time.
So very young, like to start his own business as well.
Yeah. And obviously guided by his father, who was a mechanical engineer as well.
Okay.
So they all, the whole kit and caboodle relocated in 1972. And there's my mom trying to get a job and my dad trying to get the business started. And he's trying to incorporate the business, and he has a list of disciplines that he'd like to get into, such as air conditioning, I think there was auto air conditioning, and it was just a list of different things that were mechanically related. And they told him, no, 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 but you can manufacture ice. We don't have that here, so go for that. And he took it as a step in the door, and he went from there and built a great business that we're proudly still operating today.
I know, over 50 years, right? 50?
We celebrated 50 years in 2022, so I think we're 54 years this year. So
I mean, just in that story alone, just of your grandparents, I mean, so many nuggets, right? The fact that behind every successful man is a woman, Same with you, with Courtney, with your wife, right? With your mum, with your father, and your grandmother, obviously with your grandfather, and then something else that point, the nose. I tell people all the time, like, for us as business entrepreneurs and businessmen, we get so many no's, and all you need is that one yes.
That's it.
Just one yes. So, wow. So 54 years, Mike's Ice. So then what?
I mean, I think, that's the household that I grew up in. Went to school locally, primary school. Well, I think I started in kindergarten first, and then to primary school at Catholic school. I did a little bit of time at, it was called Cayman Islands Middle School at the time.
Okay.
And public school, right? My dad, kind of threw me in there, said that'll build some character, boy, And it did.
I was public school too in Liverpool, so I get it.
and I loved it. Like, I have lifelong friends that, it definitely taught me a lot in my journey of learning and everything. And then eventually, I was very fortunate to go away for school, high school in Florida, which I attended boarding school, which I, again, met lifelong friends. Caribbean people seem to stick together when we're in other countries, we the culture and everything. I have great friends from the Bahamas, really close friends from Jamaica that are like family today. We've got friends from Trinidad, you name it, Curacao, Aruba, and great friends that we've stayed in contact all these years. And it's been great, you know what I mean? Like, as you say, networking and stuff.
Yeah.
You build those connections from a very young age.
And we'll talk about that later on in the conversation, because that was something for me that we said earlier, is that how you've built those partnerships and connections, which I now understand is lifelong friendships.
Yeah.
But now you guys are doing business together. I mean, how amazing is that? With some of these connections. I read somewhere, and it really stood out to me because it reminded me of how I was raised, about the conversations around the dinner table, and how your father was always, obviously he was an entrepreneur, but he's like, education is first. Because I had a similar, I always say this, like, my brother was like the smart one, he's super intelligent. I was like the streetwise one, but I was a hustler. And when we finished school, it was just the expectation of, like, you're going to university, there's no option, that's just what we do. And education was just like at the forefront, and my parents said, you can do whatever you want to do afterwards, but you go to university first. So that was something that I read that your father said education was, and how it was his responsibility to prioritize that you had the best education, which I assume was sending you to boarding school.
Yeah, I mean, that was an opportunity. Education was huge for my dad. I personally, we're sharing all things here. I struggled academically as a young man. I was a dreamer, right? So I'm sitting in the classroom at Catholic school. I'm the known class clown, cracking all the jokes and all that kind of fun stuff. But I'm looking out the window over here. Like, I'm not so interested in what's going on in the classroom, certain subjects. And I would tune into certain sciences and certain arithmetic and this and that, and I would tune in. But, I got through it. At the end of the day, I had setbacks along the way, and I got through it. And I think where I started to do better is when I went away to the States and was in the type of atmosphere, etc., that was best suited and most conducive to my learning. It started to shift and got involved in sports and this sort of thing, which also, you know, teaches a form of self-discipline and all this sort of stuff. That's when things really started to go well, and onwards from there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, education is important. It is of utmost importance, and that was Dad, and it was constantly drilled in. But I think there's so much. I was very fortunate to be able to go away to school and open my mind up, because you can imagine coming from such a small community, how, you know, you can get a bit of tunnel vision, and being able to go away and have that open exposure, learn different cultures. I met people from all over the world.
I think it's so important.
Different walks of life.
It's not so much about the academics, it's all of the other things that come with leaving the island.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you feel like this with your girls, but I think about this all the time with my son. And as much as I'm like, Cayman is one of the most safest places in the world. He has an incredible life. You know, I come from Liverpool. I tell this story all the time. We come from a very humble upbringing. We come from one of the worst towns and one of the worst cities in the UK. But I'm so fortunate that I was raised by such a great family. You know, like one thing people say about Liverpool is the most hardworking people. You know, family is everything, community is everything. We're like, yeah, we're going to make it through no matter what. And my parents put us in a school outside of the town that we lived in, because they were like, we want you around. It sounds awful, but it's just the reality, right? They wanted us out of that environment. I mean, like, we want you in a better environment, because they couldn't afford to get out of, no, they got out there eventually, but they wanted to put us in environments where there were more opportunities and we were going to meet different people, and it worked out for us. And I'm so grateful for that, but it wasn't necessarily about just the academics. It's all of those things. So I think about that with Kaysen. I'm like, Cayman is such an amazing place, and I'm fortunate that, you know, he has all these opportunities here, but I have to consider there's going to be a time when he needs to go and be in the big wide world.
Yeah, yeah. And it's tough these days because we're living in a completely different world than we were back then.
Scary, right?
And I will have you know that on my dad's side of the family, we originate from not too far from Liverpool.
Oh, yeah?
It's a little place called Manchester.
Oh. Are you a Man United fan?
Football rivals.
I'm like, you must be a Man United fan.
Yeah, I've been to the Theatre of Dreams a few times.
Oh, God. Old Trafford.
Old Trafford.
You know, funny enough, we're actually, everyone's always like, oh, you must be a Liverpool fan, but we're Catholic families, we're Everton, so it's almost like, and my family are, I had a season ticket when I was a kid. My mum has season tickets. They're like, when I tell you, people from Liverpool are like, loyal to the bone.
Serious.
So it's like every year they're like, we're going to get relegated, but we're still showing up.
Yeah. You got to be there regardless.
But actually, funny enough, Manchester, I spent a lot of, my friends were at Manchester University, so I used to drive down there every weekend. So I spent a lot of time in Manchester. Manchester's it's a good time.
So humble beginnings for my dad's dad in Manchester. And the legend of how my grandfather ended up in Jamaica. He was in the British Army, and I think he got injured in Barbados.
Okay.
And had to go to Jamaica for medical help. Met my grandmother.
And that was it?
That was the end of that. And you know, love takes you, you know, love will keep you locked into places, I tell you. But yeah, so it's like some UK origin on dad's side, and he was, if you ever knew my dad, that was a born and bred Jamaican man. You'd never know talking to him that he had English parents, you know? Well, English dad and Jamaican mom. But, and then
I
mom
feel
was...
like that Jamaican genes, though, it runs strong.
It's
like
strong.
Even you.
Yeah,
I listen to you talk and
well,
I'm like...
well, both mom and dad, technically, they were born... So we that's the culture we grew up with, but also very strong Cayman heritage as well, right? Because mommy's side, you know, comes from Tibbets and Scots, which go way back in the
So we're going to talk, I'm going to do all the family stuff and then we'll get into you. So your mum, obviously dad, legend, Mike Seiss and all of like the other things that he did. And then mum also, which I love because obviously as a female.
Top boss. She'll be your next guest.
I honestly,
She'll do it.
actually want to interview your mum because she's such a like personality. And I love that like, because again, we spoke about this briefly earlier. I'm not someone that ever really put my face out there for the brand, and I think your mum does it so well. You think of celebrations, it's Miss Joanne Brown. So you said Scotiabank, that was where she started, but how did celebrations come about? Because that's been going for a long, long time too.
Mom has a brilliant story. She's been an amazing example for us to follow. She's a very hard worker. I've never met anybody with the type of work ethic and focus. She went through those adversities and she got into Scotiabank, and I think she did some years there. And I think it was not long after, Dad started growing and developing the business, which was Mike Seiss and refrigeration, and started to diversify and really needed her help. And she was a great force within that business in terms of organizing it and setting it up for success along with him. They worked as a team. There was a point in time my grandmother was still involved, my grandfather was. It was a proper family business.
Yeah.
And they had that little building there on Walker's Road, which was actually an old brine plant. And my dad and grandfather built that from the ground up, and a little while after Mom got involved. And then it just evolved and built and went into them developing another property, which I think today is known as Cannon Place.
Oh yeah.
It was a Merco Center. So we were the original developers of that. And I think there was a close friend, the Hunter family.
Okay.
Daughter was getting married, Miss KK Hunter, her daughter. And I think they gave my mom a shot at doing the wedding. And I just remember as a kid, my mom's all over the living room, doing all these decorations everywhere, preparing it literally from the house. And I think it started as a hobby.
Right.
And then it grew and just kept getting more requests. And it was just an emerging market. Then it grew into destination weddings and destination events and corporate events, and she's definitely been a great ambassador for Cayman in that regard.
Absolutely. I think back of I've been here 18 years now, and companies come and go, especially businesses such as what your mum does, and with events but they come and go. Celebrations is still going strong, and it is the go-to of who you think about. And I always think about this quite a lot with businesses because it's just business. Businesses come and businesses go.
Yeah.
But if you're 50 years in, even 10 years in, we're 17 years now with Anytime, and I'm like, finally I can say, okay, we've passed that big hurdle, because as you know, there's a lot of this, and there's in my industry a lot of new competitions come in. But if you can actually stay strong and steady when all these new people come to the market, you're doing a great job. And your mum is, how many years of celebrations? Is that over 20 years?
Yeah, I think she's approaching 30 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
So she's done fantastic. And I think it's, we're very fortunate. We grew up with guidance from, my mom's dad was a fantastic man. He was such a great example to follow. He instilled values in us: work ethic, honesty, integrity, all these moral compasses that guide you. And I think that's been a great part of her success. And she absolutely loves what she does.
You can tell.
She doesn't work a day in her life. She lives for it.
Yeah, you can see
and it's
it.
a beautiful thing. We lost my dad some years ago, almost a decade approaching now.
Oh, wow.
And I think as difficult as that has been, I think in essence, her gift, her talent has been something that's taken her forward, you know, and given her purpose. So I totally, we want her to slow down, right? But, you know, she loves it. So you got to let her do what she loves.
Can I tell you, from somebody that encouraged my parents to slow down, my dad just hasn't, because he never will. It's like,
Fair
I'm like
enough,
him.
you got to let him.
He's 70 and he has his, you know, every day he's at the gym and he's doing his thing. And my mum slowed down, and my dad's like, she's driving me crazy. Like, she needs a job, she needs a hobby or something, because like they need purpose. And I think like that sometimes.
I think we all do.
We all need purpose, and especially if that's. So no, don't make her slow down. Let her keep going as long as she loves it.
I think a little bit of a balance, because you know what I'd love to see my mom do is, you know, a little time for herself when she needs it, and you know, start thinking about the future and succession planning and these sort of things.
Oh gosh, I just had that conversation on Friday. We were doing I told you, the vision board workshop with my team. And then we started speaking about, I was like, oh gosh, I need to start thinking about these things. I need to write a will. I need to start planning the future. And I'm like, I don't want to think about that yet.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's,
it's tough.
So I love how you, like, because I feel like this too. So this is where we relate. I'm so proud of my parents, and I tell them all the time, like, I'm so grateful that they gave exactly what you just said, all of the values they instilled in me. There's just me and my brother, and he's done very well in his way. And I'm like, I'm so grateful for all of those values. And you come from an incredible legacy of entrepreneurs. I don't.
Thank you.
But, Jason, give yourself some credit, because when I was doing all this research, I'm like, okay, now I need to learn about Jason, because it could have been very easy for you to just continue the family legacy, you know, continue, especially when your father passed. And I know you obviously took on Mike's Ice and your father's businesses, but also you yourself are an entrepreneur. 24, you decided to start IWC.
How did it start? I never forget what my dad said when I came to him with the idea. He said, boy, I didn't send you to university to become a garbage man. And, you know, I said, Dad, I don't know what it is about this, but I'm interested in it and I just want to pursue it. So looking back to how it started, I'd gotten through university barely, right?
Same here.
I got my business degree somehow. And, you know, I got by. I was definitely not an A student.
Same.
You know, passing, C's, occasional
Same.
D. You know, but again, in college, it was like when things came up about case studies, when things came up about interesting things to do with business, I got interested. I got interested in some of, you know, but anyways, I got through university, I got home, and even in selecting what I wanted to do for you know, to major in, I looked back and I was like, what can I do that will apply to a broad range of things? I know I want to get involved in business one day. Well, business major.
I did the same. Isn't that so funny?
It's
I was like,
I just don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to focus on one industry, but at least...
I did e-commerce. E-commerce wasn't even a thing then.
Wow.
E-business and e-commerce. And I
Wow.
look now and I'm like... So I think, again, this is why I love these conversations. There's so much crossover in how we all think. And because I was the same. No, I mean, I knew I wanted to be in the industry, but I was like, I don't want to be a PE teacher. I don't want to be a physio. But I know... I had my vision now, but I'll let you talk. But I was like, I'm just going to do business, because somewhere I'm going to own my own business.
And that's kind of what I was thinking, all right, nothing wrong with getting involved with the family business and helping, you know, and build the family legacy. So looking back a touch further, you know, from the time I was a kid, my dad would say, all right, you want to go to the movies, you want to do these things, come in, and I would count the copper fittings, little things like that. You know, in refrigeration they weld together copper fittings to run refrigeration pipelines and stuff like that.
It sounds very boring, Jason, but
it sounds very boring.
But you were interested, okay?
Yeah. So like little things like that, and he would have me come down and help, and you kind of learn a bit of work ethic. You see what's going on around you. You take it in, and then like sometime after that, another summer job for quite some time was I would work behind the tradesmen, sweeping floors, etc., cleaning up when they were building the Kirk supermarket. Arch and Godfrey was building that at the time. And I met my good buddy Garth Arch. Started very similarly. He's also done very well in business. Says a lot about starting at the bottom and building your way up. And so when I got out of university, here I am thinking, well, I've got a degree now. And my father was like, in the trenches, boy, right? Because, you know, my dad was a great man, but he was also the type of man that wanted to teach us lessons. And he said, son, I really want to give you a good leg up in this business. And the right way to do it, you've got to go out there and you've got to earn the respect of the men.
1,000%.
And the team. And he put me under a great mentor. His name is Mr. Jim Ross. He currently operates Advanced Fire and Plumbing today. And you know, Mr. Jim is an ex-Marine.
Oh wow!
He runs a tight shift, and he's a great man. You know, you know, at the time I was young. I was in my 20s, still partying and doing all the foolishness, but trying to work and build my way up in the world. And he was very patient with me and gave me a lot of good guidance and stuff like that when I was younger. But yeah, I got into working. The company at the time was called BPC Limited.
Okay.
And it was a company my father owned, and it did plumbing, fire protection, and fire suppression services. So a lot of these big projects, a lot of the hotels that were built, you know, anything in the late 80s throughout the 90s, you know, when my dad was involved in a lot of those major projects. And it was a big time of growth in Cayman. And Mr. Ross was running that division of the business, and I had the pleasure of working for him. He's like my second dad. And when I got in there after college, he just said, look, you got to get in there with the guys. And that's what I did, and I had a great time doing it.
What a great, like, that's
so
such a great lesson.
Jackhammers, you know, core drilling big, huge holes in the wall, concrete walls so that pipes could pass through. You know, from starting of the project of excavating, and you know, you didn't have all these mini excavators and backhoes and all that stuff. We were throwing the pickaxe and the shovel, and I was fit as a fiddle back then. And I enjoyed it. We had a great team, and I learned so much during that time. And in working for the tradesmen, like my duty as an apprentice plumber was, you do what the tradesmen ask of you, you hand them tools, you dig trenches, you do what you have to do, and clean up behind the trades at the end of the day. So as I was cleaning up on a number of different sites, I would clean up, sweep up, and I would take it to a pile on the side of just construction waste. And I would say to like the site managers and stuff, you know, do you guys not have dumpsters? You know, yeah, well, sometimes we can't get them, sometimes we can. A lot of times we pile up the waste, and then backhoe comes and tries to scoop it up, and it's a bit messy, but yeah, we make do. So I was like, okay. So I just kept looking at it, kept studying it, went online. There was limited resources online, just kept doing homework on it. And I approached my dad, and that's when I got the, I did not send you to university to become a garbage man, right? And he wants me to stay the course, because obviously he's built this great group of companies, etc.
But he also saw gaps in the market, and that's exactly what you did. You're like, there's a gap in the market.
There's an opening. There's certainly an opening for an opportunity, and I kept nagging him, right? Because I kept nagging him and kept saving. I saved every penny that I earned. And I think even at the time I sold a car or something I had to get as much cash together as I could to put in to buy this first truck that we needed to start the business. But we saw an opportunity there. And, my dad is, he's very matter of fact. He said, well, all right. Show me what you went to university for and write me a business plan.
Oh my God.
And I said, all right. And we had a company accountant at the time with a group. And I literally paid this man with Heineken in the evenings. And I would sit with him and he guided. There was a software program back then called Business Plan Pro.
I know exactly what that is, yeah.
And you follow this in.
Yeah.
And
they
my
give you all of
dad's
the different sections that you fill in.
Yeah.
And, now they have an AI section for that just does it all for you. But I'm with you.
Of
I
course,
was back
of
there
course.
when we had to be like, okay, what's the current market and what segment? Yeah, I remember that. That's so funny.
If you want to do this and you're serious about it, go and put in the work. And I did. And my dad was a very shrewd businessman.
That's why he was successful.
And he was a fair man. And he said, look, I'll put every penny I have in with this and I'll be completely broke. And he's like, all right, you're going to put some skin in the game. And I said, but I just need a little bit of help. He said, okay, I'll help you a little bit. He goes, but I also want to see if you can borrow some money from the bank. I want you to have some bank pressure to get you out of bed every morning, to keep getting you out of bed every morning.
What a legend your father was.
Right? So he wasn't about handing everything and handing it. He wanted me to figure it out and go through the stresses and the struggles. And in hindsight, looking back, I can't thank him enough because the opportunity was seen. He pushed me through the process. We went down to see Mr. Alberga, Mr. Michael Alberga, another legend.
Another legend.
And he's like,
He's another one I need to get.
Yeah, he's another one if you can get him.
Character.
If you can get him, a character. And he's got, he's like, Brown, what are you thinking, And I'm just like, I want to do this, and he helped us out. He's another fantastic legend and one who I can't thank enough because there were a lot of, should I say roadblocks in place of getting that first initial license that we got to do construction waste. So
I read somewhere, I loved it. I think it was the compass of something you'd done in an interview and you said, I started with one truck and a dream.
That was it. One truck and a dream. And and eventually we got there. We ordered that first truck and we started just 6 months before Hurricane Ivan. I never forget it. It's funny how life comes full circle. My first customer was two gentlemen by the name of Chris and Anthony Lawson, and they had a company at the time called Pro Builders. They gave me my first shot. And then second to that was another gentleman called Paul Alberga, Michael Alberga's son, who has a development company. And, those were my first two customers that gave me a...
And that's all you need.
You never forget. Like about the nose, it's I've had it where I'm going out and looking for customers in the early days, and I hand them a business card, and the guy's like, no thanks. Hands it back to you. You got to be able to take rejection and keep on trucking,
And you were 24 then?
24,
is what I read.
Yeah.
And this is why I love to share these stories because honestly, I wouldn't have known this. And I think for a lot of people that haven't known you for a long, long time, the assumption would be, the legacy of the Brown family. But you did all of this yourself. And it's, at the time, a perfect timing. And as you say, you went through all the no's, but then Ivan happened. So did that help or did that, I'm assuming that was...
Huge learning curve. A lot of failures, a lot of successes do it at the same time. Trial and error and learning. It was unfortunate because we would say with all the business we got, we were literally, when a load would go up in the air, we're literally tipping out people's whole lives because, it was tough. But it really helped us get established because the amount of volume of work that was out there to be done. It's literally within the 6 months of starting this baby little infant of a company that we really grew from strength to strength in the years ensuing after Ivan. We learned a lot. We built great relationships in the community. I think before that, a lot of people weren't taking me seriously because who's this 24-year-old
and
kid?
people don't know what they need until they,
Yeah.
you know, that's the other thing which is difficult, is like people might think, well, why do I need that? I've
Yeah.
been doing just fine without it. I've been, you know, putting my pile of dirt in the corner and it's
Yeah.
worked just fine for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
So when you come along with something new in the market,
Yeah.
that's even more difficult. It's like when we opened the first 24-hour gym, the amount of people that said it won't work. Why do people need a 24? Nobody's going to go at that time of night. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well.
Well, to be fair, our service somewhat existed in the market. It did. But I think it was fairly limited access because it just didn't have a lot of availability with the
Right.
providers at that time. And I just saw an opportunity to try to do it in my best version, I think, of the best way that I could. And that it would be, you know, friendly people, uniform support team, professionally done, and done properly and safely, etc. Just based on many of the values that we grew up with. But boy, I tell you, it's been a learning experience the whole way. You know, you grow and evolve from, you look and you see this opportunity and you think, all right, I grew up being just fascinated by anything mechanical and technological and anything with heavy machinery. And I came home and I got thinking and I'm like, heavy equipment went over in my mind many a times because fascinated by that as well. But then just saw an opportunity and like, boy, I think this works for me. I think there's something here. And not just that, I think there's something noble about doing your best and living a life that through your work helps aid keeping the community clean, etc.
Absolutely. And that's where I think, again, when I first wanted to reach out to you, there's so many different reasons. But originally I was like, most people that are entrepreneurs, it's their passion. And I thought like your dad, I'm like, there's no way Jason was passionate about like waste management. And now hearing your story, I'm like, oh, so you were into, like, I get it. It makes it
garbage.
But then, you know, how that's evolved. And so moving forward then, obviously that was how many years ago? 24, did we say?
So
23.
we're embarking on, what do we know, 2026. I started in 2004, I think 22 years this year.
22 years.
Yeah.
So then how it's evolved over the years, because something that I thought was just so incredible, how I said you've, the whole sustainability and how the island, as, again, I've only been here 18 years, you've been here, but, you know, the population increase since I've lived here even.
Certainly.
I think I need to go back and look. I feel like it was in the 40,000 when I first came here.
Very
and now
possible.
we're at what?
18 years, yep, that makes
and now
sense.
we're double, more than double.
Yeah.
So obviously, again, which most people won't look at this, but you essentially saw the future. You've seen that, well, then we need better systems and we need more solutions because the more people, the more consumers, the more waste. And so then I was reading obviously how you have all these different sustainability and different companies, sister companies. So tell me a little bit more about like the sister companies, I guess.
I think going back a little bit as a business person, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it.
Isn't it funny? We never know what to kind of title. I mean, you are an
funny,
entrepreneur.
right?
I don't think I can call myself an entrepreneur. I've only got one.
There was this elderly gentleman back in the day that we did some business with. And he was an old American guy, built some really successful companies in the States. And he said, you know what entrepreneur stands for? It's French for unemployed. So
I've been careful. Feels like that.
Right? I'm like, I've been careful with that word ever since, but whatever. it is what it is. I'm a businessman, I guess,
Yeah.
and I think you start out not knowing exactly what the future
Yeah.
holds, but you're dreaming. But every day you have to take action. You know, whatever you do in your work or your life, and you're trying to build something. And I think it started slowly from, I see an opportunity where I can make a living doing a good service. And then that evolves to you build your purpose over time. You mature. You start building a great team around you, because that's what makes it happen at the end of the
Absolutely.
day.
And that's the hardest part. I've struggled many years trying to, that is the hardest part.
It is, and I gotta say, I will say for all our group of companies, Mike Sice, Celebrations, Island Recycling, IWC, Starbucks, all of us, we have been blessed with some wonderful people along the way that have really helped us, and I'm grateful to them.
And that starts at the top, though, right? That's what they always say.
Yeah,
It comes from the top. It comes from, obviously, you guys are doing something great.
we try. We're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. We have, like, I have learned the best I can. You know, it started from the truck and the dream to seeing where I could make a living, and then I grew, I learned more, and I'm like, I'm starting to see a bit more of my purpose, a bit more of, you know, because your vision will change, right? It will evolve, it will grow. And I think that's what happened. You know, I some years back, I got involved in business coaching, and,
Okay.
and that opened my eyes up to vision, mission, underpinning core values.
As a mentor, you were doing.
Well, it was actually, I received business coaching,
Oh, okay.
right?
Love that. Yeah.
And I just, you know, I learned a lot.
Can I ask, because that's something that, so we're a franchise, obviously, and I struggle with that sometimes because we have great guidance from the franchise, but Cayman is a different market. So a lot of the stuff I can't use from our business coaches or the franchise. A lot of the many years I was winging it, right? But I'm at a point where too, I'm like, I feel like I need mentors in my life and business coaching. And I've spoken to a lot of people like yourself, and they've said that it's been so key in just kind of that next progression of, because there's other things I want to do, but in my head I'm like, well, I only know the fitness industry, but business is business. So,
I think
would you say that having a business coach has been
it's been
beneficial?
It's definitely transformational.
Okay.
In terms of your approach to things, it again opened the mind up, right? It was the same exposure. You go overseas, you see the world, you open your mind up. You open your room up, you know, to a business coach and your team, and then suddenly you're seeing you're seeing how you can build your team, and I think it's just a key element. We went through kind of a phase of business coaching from a lot changed in my life when I lost my dad.
Okay.
In late 2016. And, you know, my cousin was a coach at the time. In late 2017, she reached out and said, hey, you know, because I like some of her material, and she's over there in Jamaica.
Okay.
And I reached out to her and I'm like, man, you guys are doing brilliant stuff. I think I need some of this in my life.
Yes,
You know, and
yes.
we started, and we did it for a few years, and it's crazy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What was between 27 28, and we are still, a lot of the systems we we are still using the same weekly reporting system. All our management team meets. We review kind of what we've accomplished this week, and it's kind of an opportunity to everyone to have a voice in the room and have their input, and we really value our team's input.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it allowed us to kind of shape our mission, shape our vision, shape our core values to all of those good values that we were brought up with. It's nothing special. Honesty, integrity.
Sometimes though it takes somebody else to kind of like look at your business from a bird's eye view and say, okay, well, what if you just did this, this, and this, and made these stuff we wouldn't see because we're so in it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think it does take someone else's
It's
opinion just to
fantastic.
help.
And it also opens you up to, hey, I don't need to be the boss here.
That would be
I
nice.
can let my team lead. And that's the direction we're going. But that's a constant work in progress.
And it takes time, yeah.
It takes time. And it's your baby.
Yeah,
You nurtured
it's
it.
the baby before our babies. I know.
Yeah.
It's hard to let go of that. I struggle with that.
It's tough, right? But you've got to learn to let go at some point and work your way towards it. I personally have been doing a lot of self-discovery in terms of reading. And I used to do quite a lot of audiobooks. I love my podcast, as I told you before.
This, yeah.
Right? And when I'm walking on the treadmill, watching a podcast. But recently, I've been picking up paperback books
So good.
and putting the reading in. And man, I just highly recommend it to any young, up-and-coming business person that wants to pursue something, constantly fit in some form of education for yourself. It certainly helps.
The thing is with reading as well, because we spoke about this, I'm not a big reader, but my son is. Like,
Make him read to you.
I'm telling you, can I tell you what's so funny that you just said that? His dad actually did that this morning. He was like, he had a book and he was like, can you read this to me? And I'm like, what is happening here? You're making a child read your book to you? Read it yourself. But he can sit, I've said this before, so, but Keeson has ADD. I knew from early. I know, same. And so he can hyper-focus, which I tell him all the time. I'm like, exactly what you said about school is him, right? So first they were like, oh, he's distracted, he's the class clown, he's all of this.
Yeah.
But I know he's me, and his father's the same, right? So, but anyway, we had him diagnosed with ADD, but it's a super skill that he has. He can hyper-focus. So he'll sit and read for 2 hours, nonstop. He's the kid, I joke, but I love it secretly that he's this little nerd. He's always got books in his bag, and everywhere he goes, he's just any opportunity to read. So I agree, I think, but there's something about picking up a book. See, with a podcast, I can work and listen to a podcast. I can have audio in the background.
Good. I don't think I could manage that one.
I can have like 10 different things going. But with a book, you have to focus. It forces you to just...
And I lock myself in a room. And I read out loud.
And it's
FYI.
You read out loud, that's so funny. So my 9-year-old does something.
I have to do it. That's the way it works.
Do you do the character voices?
I try to do it. I try to make it a little interesting for myself. I've been told I'm a little animated from time to time.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, you're right. Now reading it's so simple. I'm going to try and make an effort to read more because I don't do it enough. I wanted to talk just to kind of, not to finish the business because there's so much business talk, but I didn't realize Starbucks was you until like 2 days ago.
That's one of my secrets. No, I'm just kidding.
Have I just let that cat out of the bag?
No. We've been involved since inception. Yeah, of course.
So talk to me about that and how that came about.
I had heard some years ago, my dear friend Adam Stewart.
Incredible man.
Awesome guy.
What a legend again.
Legend.
You have some great people in your life.
I'm fortunate.
Very.
I've been told I'm a smooth talker. I talk my way into and out of problems.
Courtney must love me. She's like, yes.
I keep her on her toes and my girls. But Adam has been a dear friend of mine. Again, through going away to school.
Oh, you guys went to school together?
Well, he went to school further south in Florida than I did, but our mutual friends were all tight. So on spring break, I wouldn't go home. When I was at school in Florida, I'm like, right. Mom, I go in Jamaica, right? Or it was Mexico, or it was,
For those who don't know who Adam Stewart is, maybe we should
Yeah, Adam Stewart, Sandals chairman, and all this other wonderful.
All the other
in shining lights.
All the car dealerships and obviously Starbucks
yeah.
in Jamaica.
And the most humble, wonderful, down-to-earth person you'd ever want to meet. And that's just the truth. But we met in 1996 and we hit it off as friends. You know, it was a spring break in Jamaica and we were having a blast, man. And we're great friends ever since. And I'd heard he has been able to achieve so much. And he's somebody I'm so proud of. You know, he was able, you know, Starbucks is always corporate-owned stores. So I can't remember if it, you know, 8, 9 years ago, I guess he started discussions with them. And when they had launched the first store, I had heard that he had the Caribbean franchise.
Oh, I see.
I reached out and I said, look, I've loved that brand for a long time. Keep us in mind if Cayman's ever an interest to you. And somewhere down, you know, I kind of mentioned it in passing, no pressure, no big deal. And then it came around full circle. And you know, they reached out and said, boy, we have an interest and there's an opportunity. And sometimes, you know, my dad always said, sometimes when opportunity knocks, you've got to answer the door.
Absolutely.
And that's what we did. So.
What, I remember that time because it was such a, like, you know, Starbucks is so iconic. And for the, when we tried to get our franchise, so my original partner who, Michelle Arch, Craig Arch was her father. Who
Right, okay.
Yeah,
So that was the Audi dealership?
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So I owe them so much because like Craig became like our mentor.
Right.
When we started the business. But to bring a franchise to the island was really, really difficult.
Right.
Because most of these franchises just look at your volume of, you know, your population.
Foot traffic, all that.
Yes.
There's a lot of...
There's a lot of red tape. So I always, like, when I'm speaking to anybody that owns a franchise, I'm like, you understand the struggle because they want to know exactly where it's going to be located and what your rent looks. So even the rent alone, they were like, absolutely not. This rent is ridiculous for the franchise because they're predominantly an American franchise. So, so yeah, talk to me about with Starbucks, like you decided on Cayman Bay for the first one. Was that like you knew it had to be Cayman Bay or was that?
I think it was a little bit of, you know, I think the franchise was approached because of the brand, etc., and the draw of the brand. And then, you know, there was an opportunity and we just started discussing the opportunity, etc., and you know, everything just aligned. Went for it.
And you have two now. There's one in town too,
We
right?
do.
Okay.
We have one in town as well. Yeah.
Okay. How are they actually doing?
They're doing well.
Because the franchises, I mean, I don't have anything to compare it to, but you obviously run your own business and then run a franchise. There's pros and cons. It's somewhat easy because the blueprint is there, but you're restricted in how you do things to an extent,
You're
right?
restricted in how you can do things. There's franchise fees, etc., etc. You know, but they have success for a reason. And, you know, where we think there needs to be flexibility, we work our way up the chain to the franchise and say, look, consider this for these jurisdictions, etc. So
Yeah.
it's one of the ways of working with them, but in terms of design and the way the business operates, you're kind of, it's a franchise. So
It's, yeah.
similar, I was a franchisee of under my dad, of SO stations as well.
I forgot actually that you guys had that too.
MAB Limited, but we've since divested.
Okay.
I wanted to go on a different path, and you know, we let the two stations go to a very capable man who is also a Brown. I'll say nothing more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. Of course.
But
I know.
good
Yes.
relationship there as well. And
But are you family or no?
no family.
Oh, just the same. Oh,
Yeah.
just from the Jamaican.
Yeah.
is that
Well,
where
it was
that-
actually no relation. That Brown actually originates from Cayman as well.
Oh, okay.
So,
Again, full circle moment. Hey.
yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about how on earth do you manage all of these things, all of these businesses? So obviously having great teams to run them, but you're still somewhat involved, right?
Most certainly. You know, I am trying to grow, and this is what I'm learning, it was your baby. You nursed it. It's now growing up. You don't want to necessarily be a doer every day. It's not the most productive thing of your time. But I think I'm trying to become more of the role of a facilitator.
Okay.
And hopefully a teacher. But the answer is the number one. How do you do it? It's people. It's good people in the right places. For the second time, I'm reading a book now called Good to Great.
Okay.
I think you should read that book.
Okay. That'll be
And
my
another
first
one I'll give you
book
is
that I'll read.
Another one I'll give you is Principle-Centered Leadership.
Okay.
That's another great book. Trust me.
Okay, I'm going to do that. I definitely, this year, I have to get into my reading more. Another thing that I admire from afar is, you know, your relationship with your wife and your family, and I can see that it's, you know, of utmost importance to you. So you have all of this going on. But, you know, that's something that for me, in my experience, that I've really struggled with, is finding that balance of how are you present for your children, but then you still have to run these businesses. And so tell me about how you do that, because I would love advice in that department.
I don't know. It's tough. You know, the more I grow and I learn, I realized that I had to make some changes personally. Back in 2021, I think it was, took my last drink of alcohol.
Oh, well done.
And I just, you know, it just kind of happened. I was taking a few weeks off, and I said to the wife a few months later, I was like, shit, it's been a few months. I'm going to give this thing a break. I think that's one of the big changes in my life as well. As I, you know, sometimes as a dad, I think I've always been a good dad. But sometimes going out and having a little too much fun, you're not as present on Saturday morning.
Yeah, because you're
Friday
struggling.
evening happy hours, because you're struggling. You know what I mean? I think that's been one thing that's helped me personally. I just knew that, like, doing this makes me a better dad, makes me a better man, makes me a better husband. And I think if you ask the question of, you know, everything I've been able to accomplish over the years, I owe a great deal of gratitude to my wife. She's been a wonderful support system for me, and she's a massive part of it.
Yeah.
You know, and she has this ability to really keep us organized on the home front, and on the business as well. It's amazing, her contributions.
Which is similar to what you said about your grandmother and then your mother.
Yeah.
And you found your wife that...
Yeah. And I've been extremely blessed in that regard. And again, people, this is not me. I can't do it all, you know? And it's just been trying to become a facilitator of people, you know?
Because I understand, like, it is, you know, even for your wife, for Courtney, you know, she has to take on a lot to allow you to be able to, you know, I'm sure, travel and go away and run all these business. Yeah. She also has to, I don't want to say sacrifice, but there is sacrifice within a marriage and relationship, right? So I think it is so important, and you're so fortunate if you do find that partner that just is in it with you.
Yeah, it's
and
amazing. She's
like,
a team.
You can see
player.
that from what I see from just socials, right? I can see that all day long. I just wanted, because again, I was like stalking your socials before I met with you to see.
FYI, I call her the boss.
Oh, I'm
jokingly
sure she
and
is.
lovingly. She's the boss, right?
I'm sure she keeps you in your place. But I saw that last year you were nominated for Cayman's Hero Award.
Yeah, I was extremely humbled and grateful to be nominated. I think the series was like Modern Visionary Impact or something like this.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, but I can be corrected at a later date. But I was really humbled because I'd actually reached out to a few of my dad's kind of colleagues.
To nominate your dad.
And I nominated my dad. So the lady calls me, and I'm like driving home in traffic, and I, you know, the speakerphone thing. I'm like, good afternoon, how can I help? You know, she's like, I'm calling from some government office. And I said, okay, ma'am, how can I help? And you've been nominated for an award. I'm like, ma'am, I think you're mistaken. My dad's been nominated for an award. And she's like, no, 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 sir. You've been nominated. I'm like, my goodness, this is, and I was stunned.
Do you know who nominated you?
I think it was a combination of some family and some friends.
But like so well deserved. I mean, obviously your dad for sure, you know, but I'm like, that is, when I read that, I was like, oh, that's so nice. Like, that's so cool because.
My older cousin, I think, spearheaded.
Because you do what you do because yes, it's your business, but you know, you can see, and I've learned so much more now that there is so much passion behind what you do, and you've made a difference in Cayman. You know, I kind of touched on it earlier, but when I was looking at the different businesses that you have, you know, from a sustainability standpoint, you've done that incentive where they saw some of them with Bonnie Moon and the Beacon Farms where you're doing food sustainability, and then you have glass with the Flowers Group.
Yep, yep.
And then obviously aluminium with your, what's the other company?
It's Island Recycling.
Island Recycling, of course. So, you know, you are making a huge environmental impact on...
Best we can.
Yeah.
We're trying to do best we can, what we can sustainably. Do I feel that we're near where we need to be? I think there's a lot of work to be done as an island. I think there's a lot of infrastructure that needs to be built.
But you've got the ball rolling.
We do. And I am always glass half full. I'm the eternal optimist.
You see, I can see that.
But we also must be, I think we should also be ferocious about aiming to do better for our environment. I mean, we've got to turn this over to our kids, grandkids, and generations to come. I think it's important at some point in time that we build the right infrastructure in Cayman to manage our solid waste.
Yeah, we have
I'm a huge supporter of that. How that gets done is a big question, right? Because there's a lot of cost involved. We saw that we were on a path to hopefully
I was going to ask you about that, your thoughts on...
Yeah. Just unfortunate timing.
Right. Because of when the elections were and everything.
Well, I think, you know, maybe there was a little bit of political stuff around it.
The landfill is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're doing the Cayman switch right now where we talk without saying.
Yeah, the regen project. But I can't, you know, get into too much of it.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I think it was just an unfortunate situation in terms of timing. I think it could have been the right project, but I think the procurement just went on a really long time.
Right.
There were unprecedented times of inflation. And that's where the affordability gap, I think, slipped away. And I understand governments of the day have to look at things and prioritize and make the best decisions they can. And there's a lot of things out there that they've got to focus on. So in due course, I'm hoping that we get something, though, for I think that we do need to consider a simplified version of maybe what was proposed before. And something that creates good, sound landfill diversion. And that's what I'm a proponent of supporting and would love to be a part of in some way, shape, or form.
I mean, especially if the intention is to grow the population, something's got to give, right? So at some point we can't just...
We've got to address it and find some sort of clever hybrid solution. I've got some stuff in the back of my mind, and I'm escaping, you know, I'm dreaming again and all that, as I always do. And there are solutions out there, just to wait for the time to when, you know, the government's ready to push things forward again.
How do you think your dad would feel now, knowing like your first conversation about, I didn't send you to university to be a garbage man, and like, look now, if he could see, because obviously he saw a lot of the years of the work that you did.
He did.
If he could see you now.
You know, I don't know, but I think he would be proud. I think he would be proud.
You're still so young as well.
I think
40?
so. 47 next month.
Oh, you're 47, yeah.
Next month.
I actually thought you were younger than that, but still, I mean, so young to do so much.
So, yeah, no, I think he'd be proud. I miss him. It's difficult on those days where we all have difficult days. And like that, he was my go-to. I pick up the phone, yo, Pops, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? He's like, what do you think about this? You know? And then he turns it, he had this way of when I would call him, boy, you know, and he would ask me questions. And he would have this way with people where he would ask questions and he would allow you to come up. It sounds like you have the answer, son.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
It's something else. I mean, it's something that was ingrained within him, that he had a gift.
Wow.
But yeah,
So let's shift gears a little bit, because another reason that I want to speak to you about is this. I feel like, so you'll have to correct me wrong, the last 2 years you've done 75 hard.
Yeah.
And if nobody knows what 75 hard is, I'll let you explain. But it obviously, this is where the connection of like fitness and, you know, wellness and with my industry, when I see people that do 75 hard, I have my opinion on it.
Sure.
And it's so funny to me because it's a certain type of person that does this. It's always like the entrepreneur, the businessman, there's a certain person that can do a 75 hard. So tell us a little bit about what it is and why you do it.
Well, this is my first time I'm trying it.
Oh, I thought you did it last year.
My coach did it last year.
Oh, maybe that's what I saw.
No biggie. But I've been, I'd say again, Dad. All leads back to Dad. I lost my dad in 2016, and I really started to think about health. And, you know, awful disease of cancer that we know many people fighting.
Especially right now, it's like,
it's rampant, and very, very unfortunate. But he went through his battle, and he was doing well, but it's also a very deceitful disease where sometimes you don't know which way you're going. But, you know, after all of that, and he passed, you know, I was going through a really busy time in my life. I was the guy that was putting everyone else first and myself last. And I was kind of going through an area in my life where, you know, estate planning with my mom and just a lot of stresses and kind of not focused on taking care of my health. And then late in 2017, I said, screw this. I've got to start making a change. And I met with Matt from CrossFit Cayman, Matt and Teresa, great people. You just become a part of their family. You know, like I'm sure with your folks that come and become a part of your family, and they're wonderful people. And I started just a 2-day regimen with Matt where we would do a watered down version of CrossFit.
right.
So just basic calisthenics, a little bit of riding, a little bit of lifting, but take it easy, slow and steady wins the race. And I'm here to tell you that for 9 years, that has been something I've kept up.
Oh, amazing.
Fluctuated up and down with the weight, etc. But I maintained that.
So you train with him twice a week?
Just twice a week, and then I would do 2 or 3 other days on my own. And I've done well over the years. And what's helped me is in 2021, when I kind of gave alcohol the boot, the last 5 years I've been kind of monitoring and doing even better. So it's been slow and steady.
Can I tell you, I also train with a trainer and have done my entire life.
Good for you.
And people think that, like, because, and I'll tell you why, before, it's the accountability.
Yep.
Because people like us can very easily put it off because we've got work to do.
Exactly.
We've got this to do. So I tell people all the time for accountability, and I like routine. It's in my calendar, and it just works for me. And at least I know 3 times a week now is that's my time for me. I don't want to think. I need somebody else to tell me what to do.
It's a non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
So I set that time on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's in my calendar.
Yep.
It's fixed. And, you know, my cousin also, that was my business coach, encouraged me, Jay, you know, this would help you, a bit of accountability. and Matt's been fantastic.
Yeah,
Through all
they're a great couple. I don't know them personally, but I admire
they're
what
wonderful
they do, yeah.
people, and you should look to meet with him and get him in here and collaborate
Yeah.
any way you can. Because he's got a
We're
great...
getting everyone in for the story.
Yeah, he's great, and he's got a great story as well. And you know, spending time with him, we've become like great friends as well, because it's kind of personal training, and it's been a lot of inspiration. And when I put the alcohol aside and stuff, I was just like, wow, I'm starting to feel better, and you get more motivation, and it's good inertia. And then, kind of, I think it was like New Year's Eve or a couple of days before that, we're texting and, all right, when's the next training session? Ray, New Year.
Oh yeah.
Getting serious again, you know? But we're like, I've been pretty on it, like these last years. Like I've maintained at least 4 to 5 days, 6 days a week with some form of activity, even if it's walking.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, you want to try something new? And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, 75 hard. I'm like, all right, let me look into this thing. And so basically, 2 workouts a day, 1 outdoor. One can be indoor or outdoor, so it can be both. Drink a gallon of water, read 10 pages.
This is why you're reading.
Read 10 pages of the book, of a book that is non-fiction.
Yeah, it can't be fiction.
Can't be fiction, has to be learning. And yeah, but as long as it's something that's self-help learning, whatever. And I think
no alcohol, obviously.
Yeah, which I've already checked that box,
yeah.
but my no cheat was no processed sugars and
great.
no processed carbohydrates. Little sweet potato here and there.
Yeah, sweet potato is great.
It's great, right? And like, can I do a selfie? That one's not too hard.
For 75 days.
But you have to click this thing on your app, or else it'll prompt you at 10 p.m. like, should I be, because you have
Get
to
up
start.
and walk, go outside.
But it makes you start over.
Yeah.
So if you miss one of those things in 75 days, like, back to the bus.
Yeah.
You go back to day 1 and you have to restart. So what was pretty cool about this for me was like, I am literally painting myself into a corner. I've got to do this. I don't have a choice.
Are you somebody though that is, if I'm going to do it, I'm all in?
That's it.
That's me. Yeah.
In for a penny, in for a pound.
There's no
And that's
option.
the
I
same
don't
thing-
start unless I'm going to finish.
Same thing with the party thing. We're high performers. We go, we're going to have fun. We having fun. So I was kind of glad that that part of my life I can safely say, you know what, kiss it goodbye. But I've kind of been going on this journey of slow but steady, like exploring my own personal self-discipline. And, how do I build on that slowly but surely and try to become the best version of myself? Why not? Why should I not aspire to do that or to be that?
Yeah.
And I think like some of the things I'm learning in reading, etc., is like that self-discipline actually relates to unlocking a lot of happiness. Some of the most miserable times in my life was where I wasn't focused the way I should be and wasn't looking after myself the way I should be and wasn't exercising that like self-discipline, So people hear the word discipline, they're like, ooh, and it's like that's a bad thing. That sucks. But it's actually one of the purest forms of self-love. And
motivate. It's motivation. I try and look at it. It's like when you wake up motivated to do something and then you actually achieve it and you do it, you feel so good. I'm such a checklist. I love to look at the end of the day, checking it. I feel like I've achieved something.
Agreed. And I think like any young aspiring business person, entrepreneur, whatever we want to call them, that want to go out there and create something for themselves, I really feel as though that that's a great thing to put in their toolbox. Just working on your, and don't compare yourself to anyone else.
That's
because of what they have or what they've attained or what they've got. Good for them.
Yes.
Cheer them on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? cheer them on. Even if it's your competitor that's won something or done something great, cheer them on, but run your own race.
Absolutely.
Aim for something, and always work on yourself and self-reflect where you can. That would be advice that I would give to any young up and coming, because like working on yourself is just, I think.
And everyone around you benefits.
I think so.
People, like, I know it's so cliche, but being through it myself, because obviously, again, there's been times in my life where I've not been my best version of myself.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to be present for my child. I wasn't able to be focused and give my team at work what they needed because I was so consumed with what's going on in myself. But they see that. They see the difference and they feel the difference too. Because people have said that to me. They're like, oh, you're like a completely different person. But it does, as health is wealth.
It is.
It's
number one. And, I've kind of learned a lot of planning systems for myself. And it's usually, health first, happiness next, and third is business. That's going to come and go. That'll be there. And it's usually surrounded about, what do I need this week to make sure I put on my own oxygen mask first.
Well,
and then I can help everyone else, right?
That's right.
And then the second is, what can we do with the girls? What can I do? What activity as a dad? And my wife is like, she's awesome with organizing. Like picks the most fun stuff to do, and we get together and we do whatever we can. A big tradition that we do have as well is Sunday dinner at Grammy's.
Love it.
And that's like a thing that my dad started from way back in the day, and just the whole family gets together for a meal. We do our best to try to do it once a week. Sometimes that's not always the case, but we strive for that. And she's, listen, you be on Grammy's naughty list. And, of course, the food's delicious. And, and
who cooks? Your mom?
You know what? Mom's recipes, but we are very blessed. We have a wonderful lady in our lives that kind of takes care of the family home, Miss Carol.
Right.
She's a superstar.
Yeah.
She's been with us for decades.
Oh, wow.
And let me tell you, don't mess around. I've been a healthy boy for a long time because of Miss Carol. She cooks amazing. It's the best Caribbean cuisine that's out there. And
that's so good. I love that because that's definitely something we grew up with. That Sundays was always, you go to the grandparents' house and all the cousins and sometimes I have this like guilt to me that my son's not having that, because there's only me and my brother and he only has one son too.
Right.
But I try and like summer we go to the UK and we have that time together. But
you gotta have that time.
We do every Sunday FaceTime, family FaceTime.
Well,
and that's the best we can do because we live so, but it's so
But you and your brother lives here as well?
No, my brother's in the UK.
Okay,
yeah.
Understood.
But we, call my parents, call my brother, everyone's like family FaceTime, and it's like every Sunday just to have that connection. Because I think you're right. It's so, family, it's so important to make those times.
It is. As much as you drive each other crazy sometimes.
Yes, I know. So,
but you love them.
Yeah, of course. So just to wrap up 75 Hard, how many days are you at?
I am at day 50.
Oh, yeah.
Can I look at my app real quick?
Yeah, go look. Have you done your workout for today?
I've done my first morning one, if you must know. Day 50.
Oh, home stretch then.
Home stretch, day 50. So I've also done a little bit of walking with a weighted vest.
That's why I see you.
So like my buddy Craig Jervis, proof, right? And I'm like, don't get me wrong, I do a little bit on social and stuff like that, special occasions and stuff. And I was like, Matt, can I just do the workouts and send them to you? He's like, nope.
It's the accountability.
He's like, public accountability, buddy. I'm like, man.
But honestly, I'm telling you, I felt like that's for so long too. I was like, nobody cares what I do when I work out. Nobody cares what I eat. I'm not going to be that person. People do care. people, you are inspiring people when you do those pitches, because you know, we think that people
Jay
don't
Brown
care what
can
we
do it. We can do it
like,
too.
but honestly, like sometimes I'm like, who cares? But
Yeah.
I'll get messages from people and they'll be like,
See, people reach out to me and say, Jay, you know, keep on trucking, man.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job. And it's just like, I think the accountability thing, and I'm like, you know what, roll with it. And like, I've been just, I'm like, all right, can I not post it? Can I at least do it on the storyline so it's not so in people's face?
I know,
you know
because
what I mean?
sometimes you're like people probably think that you're doing it, but
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
don't understand how
If they
75
don't
hard
understand
works.
how 75 hard works, they don't understand the whole public accountability thing. And it's great. And I'm glad he pushed me to it. He's, like I said, he's been a great influence on my life. He's been a great friend. I don't really, I call him my coach, but he's really become a friend.
Yeah.
And he's held me accountable, and he's patient. But it's been great. I think it's one of my greatest runs yet in terms of like keeping up with fitness. And
But you know what, I'm telling you, once you complete that, I've not done the 75 hard, but because I pretty much, you know, been in this industry.
Yeah, you're
a lot of it, I
super
live
fit.
my life that way.
Yeah,
so
it's ingrained
I need
within
different
you.
benefit, like different things to challenge me.
You're
like
going to
the
do it for reading.
Yeah, I'm going to do it for that. But I'm telling you, you're going to feel it's a bit addictive. When you feel good, it's addictive. Like, as we said, alcohol or wherever it may be, but you'll probably be like, finish him, and maybe not the double workouts every day, because that is extreme.
That is
but
a bit extreme.
you know, the reading you might continue, which is great. The you know, other parts of it you may just continue to do.
The reading has probably, like, people are, so what's the best thing about it? And I was like, I think the most transformational for me, or the best influence, or however you would want to say that, the reading, man. Because I'm forced to kind of, okay, I'm going home for lunch,
That's when
knock
you
the
do it.
10 pages out, and I kind of schedule myself that way. And it's like, it kind of gives you a break from everything.
Absolutely.
And like, you're studying. That's what you're doing.
And it's so important that we're continuously
Learning, that's key.
Gosh, Jason, there's so much. I could speak all day to you about all these things. You've done like so much. What is next for Jason Brown?
What is next? Finish the 75 hard.
Oh, okay. 25. We'll check in in 25 days.
First things first. Yeah. So, you know, I'm really proud of that. I'm going to stay with it. Some people say, well, that's not sustainable. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to finish this, and we're going to plan what life looks like after this. And we're going to, you know, maybe it isn't 2 workouts a day. Maybe it's one that's a little bit more intense, and maybe it's a casual walk after dinner, a short walk. I don't quite know, but we've got some interesting things in the pipeline that we're looking at. You know, I have a vision and aspiration of doing the best I can in Cayman in my businesses, and to work with my teams to do that. And you never know. I've always dreamed about looking at the wider Caribbean and opportunities that might be out there. So
Yeah.
we'll
why
see
not? You have all these connections in other...
We'll
so
see
why
where
not?
life takes us, but one step at a time.
Exactly. And then my last question, if either of your girls came to you and said, Dad, I want to be a garbage man, what would your response be?
I would support their dreams happily.
1 truck and a dream, and then go to the bank and get your own loan.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It takes me back to Mike's Ice. And, you know, my dad knew things were a little iffy at the time. He was ill, and he knew that there were some unsureties, and we were restructuring Mike's Ice and refrigeration at the time. And he said, son, you're going to have to buy your shares. I said, all right, Pop, fair enough. Let me know what is what.
Right.
And both me and my first cousin, we
Oh,
purchased.
it wasn't just handed
No,
to you, even
ma'am.
then
This is not, you know, this is, I would say we got a very fair deal, but it was, you know, he was a businessman.
It's just business.
And the same way that when we started IWC, he said, all right, you're going to go ahead with this thing. You know, I put my little tiny bit of, I think I probably had $10,000 at the time. $12,000, something like this.
Yeah.
And I threw that into the pot. I don't even think that could get us to the deposit for the first truck.
I know now. Can you imagine now?
And then he helped me out a bit. And what I also did, we had a condo in Miami when my sister was attending university, and he said, well, if you help broker that deal, you can use part of the proceeds from those funds. And I helped broker that, and that was a loan. He said, but I'm not only giving you a loan, I want some interest, and I'm taking 50% equity in the business.
50? Oh my gosh, you thought should have been on Shark Tank. It's like Mr. Wonderful.
And you know what? Look, I couldn't have asked for a better partner. With all the guidance that he gave me, it was totally worth it.
But all of those lessons are why you're successful.
Yeah,
My friends are the
definitely.
same. I mean, they didn't have anything to hand out to me, but it was always a matter of like, we'll help where we can, but we don't have it to give you, so figure it out. And that's why I was able to be successful, because whenever I hit a hurdle, I don't have anyone to fall back on. I have to figure it out, right?
It is.
So they're like,
It is.
I just think we're so
We gotta
fortunate to have
know.
parents
We
like
gotta
that.
know struggle, and in terms of my girls, I just want. I think, maybe when I was younger, I would have thought, go out there and find success. But what is success? I think success is health. It's happiness, and comfortable living. You don't have to knock it out of the park in regards to that. But I think health and happiness are key.
Mm-hmm.
Find that, and you'll find
And
success.
yeah, it's so true.
And that's what I want for my girls. And if being a garbage lady is part of
Is their dreams, then so be it.
then knock it out of the park with that. I'd be happy to hand over the reins whenever they're ready.
Oh, well, thank you, Jason. This was
Thank you for having me.
so interesting.